Welcome back to the She Inspires podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jade, board certified family medicine physician, wellness and weight loss specialist, owner of the membership medical practice in Las Vegas, WeNSPIRE Primary Care. And I am so glad you are back. Y'all, take out your pencil, take out your paper. This is going to be filled with the gems. We are talking about growing an 8-figure company with my friend Rhinanon Andersen. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You did not hear that wrong, okay? We are talking about growing an 8-figure company. I'm so excited. I have so many questions, y'all. I got the questions for you. I know you're like, ask them. So, I absolutely love you. You are just the coolest person. First of all, you can already tell by the vibe if you're watching this on YouTube. So cool, so calm, sweet. But what I love about you is you're so humble and thoughtful, and you're a philanthropist. And so I look forward to digging into this. Tell the She Inspires fam who you are and what you do.
So my name is Rhinanon Andersen, and I own Steelhead Productions. We are an event production agency located in Las Vegas, and our entire company is obsessed with helping marketers succeed at events, specifically trade shows. I have been working inside my business as a second-generation business owner for 16 years.
Wow.
So it's been a long journey. And I'm excited to talk more about what that's looked like and share all of the tips and tricks that have helped us as an organization and me as a woman, make it through.
Yeah, we're at. And thank you for being willing to share. When you joined as a member at WeNSPIRE Primary Care, I was like, okay, we're going to talk about the medical stuff, but can I ask you about entrepreneurship? And you just let me ask you questions. And I just felt so blessed to be able to sit with an 8-figure entrepreneur and just ask questions. And you were just so thoughtful and kind and generous. Yeah. And I said, the moment we're able to get you on the She Inspires fam, I want to share those jewels with the fam. So thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule.
Yeah, I think it's really important to do that.
Yeah.
If you've had an experience to pass it down.
Yes.
So that somebody else can learn and possibly avoid any pitfalls that might happen.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us about your entrepreneurship journey. You mentioned being second generation. Yeah. You mentioned what Steelhead does. Tell us about that journey and what led you into Steelhead.
Sure. So it's actually kind of funny, and I never really would have thought back when I was in my 20s going to college that I would be where I'm at today, as thankful as I am for being where I'm at. I started off my journey really dedicated to at-risk youth, and I have 2 degrees, one in social work and one in sociology, and my mission was to work with the homeless population in the Pacific Northwest and really help kind of elevate those that didn't have the resources or don't have the resources now. You kind of hinted to that we still do a lot of philanthropy. But anyway, that was my first love, and my education and career started there. And after about 5 years of dedicating myself, blood, sweat, and tears to really wonderful causes, I was burnt. I was really, really burnt out. And went and asked my dad for a job so I could make a little bit of money just as a side hustle while I took a breather. And I never left. So here I find myself 16 years later owning and operating an event company.
Yes.
And I'm so thankful because I've been able to integrate my passion for giving back into the business. Maybe we'll touch on that a bit later. But that's what led me into the business. It has been so interesting because upon buying the business from my father, as I mentioned, second generation, we purchased the business from him, my business partner and I, in 2008. The deal was finalized. And our first entrepreneurial endeavor was to move the business from the Pacific Northwest. We were a really wonderful family business, owner, operator, small, 14 employees, and we decided we wanted to take it to Vegas. 65% of our business occurs in the Las Vegas kind of city. This is one of the biggest event cities in the world, next to maybe Dubai. And we decided we were moving it down to Vegas. And I will never forget, my dad said to me, That's a really wonderful idea.
Mm-hmm.
I want you guys to buy me out entirely,
Mm-hmm.
and you go do it.
Right. He's like, leave me here in the Northwest.
Yeah.
Y'all go down.
Yeah, and he'll, ride like the coattails of having exited a business
Mm-hmm.
and left it to his daughter, which was really exciting. But I would assume some of those who are listening can recall back to 2008 and 2009, 10. It's a very terrible recession. And so our first introduction to entrepreneurship and having pushed all of our chips on the table, taking our $300,000 that we had saved that we thought would like be what we needed for our startup capital in Las Vegas, and we got hit with a terrible recession.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of growing the company, we actually shrunk by half after having taken on a huge operational obligation of a new facility.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'll always, I never want to go back to that particular moment in time again. It was traumatizing.
Yes.
But you learn a lot of lessons, and it was truly, truly the school of hard knocks.
Wow.
And how to, persevere through difficult times and keep your energy right,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you say that you inherited the business, you bought your dad out, and I know some may be thinking, and I know I am, okay, well, was it an 8-figure business when you inherited the business? And it's so beautiful to see the baton passed to you. The other day, my daughter Ava said, oh, when I'm older, you can retire and I'll take care of WeNSPIRE primary care. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So my question is, what did you inherit exactly, and how have you taken that baton and run with it?
Yeah, actually there's quite an unfortunate statistic that second generation business owners don't do well by the legacy of their family that started it originally. And so proudly, when we bought the business from my dad, in all transparency, because thinking back, it is a bit inspiring because we were given a structure and an opportunity and a brand. And at that time, we were doing about $5 million in revenue. That was at my dad's height. And then, we ran it into the ground during the recession. And I recall that our revenue at that time was $2.4 million.
Okay.
So literally a little bit less than half. And, so proudly, we are an 8-figure business now.
Yes.
Our goal this year, please, ladies, think good thoughts, but we're trying really hard to hit 24 million.
Amen.
And, I get emotional even talking about it because it's been a really blessed journey.
Yes.
And not free of difficulty, but very blessed.
So let's transition into that. I know entrepreneurship has its ups and downs, and I can only imagine with the journey you've been through to get to this point in the company. So what have been some of the highlights of challenges you can think of, and how have you guys overcome them?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest challenges is learning how to scale your systems and processes as you're growing.
Yes.
Because for those of you who are in business or aspire to be in business, when you grow revenue, you have different types of clients, you have more clients. The way you've done it isn't going to be the way you'll want to do it as you continue to move forward.
Yes.
So one of the most important pieces, and all of my entrepreneurial friends, I recommend the same thing. I recommended it to you when we had one of our first conversations. It's figuring out an operating system. And so for us, we used something called Scaling Up. There's a book on Amazon. You can buy it. I don't have any affiliation with it, but it was one of those pieces of information that really changed the trajectory of our organization. That folded over into us using EOS. It's the Entrepreneurial Operating System. And quite honestly, every endeavor I will ever do for the rest of my life, I will use that model of organizing our goal setting and organizing the communication with the people and vendors that we need to work with. It is quite magical and really helps when you bump up against issues. It really is an organized way to think about solving problems within the business.
Yeah. And so you did tell me about that. I read the book.
Yeah.
I got the little red book and we actually implemented it into and it's been amazing to have that EOS system and do our quarterly rocks and have our L10 meetings.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So ladies, if you are thinking about how can I organize and scale up our business, this is really an amazing pearl that you just dropped.
It's a tool for sure. That's trajectory changing.
It really is. Yeah. So thank you for telling me about it as well. And so, okay, let's shift to the personal. You are an amazing wife and you are an amazing mother and you are also running an 8-figure company. So tell us about the journey of that and how does that look?
Whew, girl. It's very beautiful and busy, as you can imagine. I mean, any working mom knows what it feels like to be pulled, have your heartstrings, and then your mind in 2 different places. You can't be in one, right? I really believe in asking for help and outsourcing, because it is important to me that I make my highest contribution professionally. I want to tend to myself personally. And yes, of course, that includes my family, but me as a woman. Yeah. And taking care of myself and nurturing my heart, my mind, my body in the best way possible so that when I show up as a mother or when I show up as an entrepreneur, business owner, I am my best self. And it really requires being organized and committing, like being very committed. When I am in my own energy and needing to nurture myself, I allow myself space to do that. Then when I'm in mom mode, I'm there to be like the best mom, and I want to play and have the other kids and have the house be very lively and let me be that version of myself. And then when I'm in work mode, I'm turning it on, girl, and I'm showing up as an entrepreneur. And that requires me being okay with my daughter having a nanny, being okay with asking for help from family, to be with her and help her feel like she's never just pawned off, but that she's going over there to get like a different kind of like care, and also not feeling guilty about that.
That's amazing. The mom guilt is what I hear a lot about, and I've struggled in different seasons, and then I've just given myself grace. I've learned to give myself grace. And so I love that you share that and you balance the hat so beautifully. I love to watch your journey and I can imagine like, yes, when I'm here, I'm here. And when I'm there, I'm there. And so, okay. So what about this team of over 100 employees? Can we get into it? Because Team Inspire is super excited to be a team of 4 now. Okay. But I'm like 4 over 100. Like, tell us about managing people. And what I love, when you gave me a tour of your facility and of your team, your company culture is amazing. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you see the smiley face, that's their logo. It was literally like on everyone's faces and in their spirit.
Thank you.
Like it was just a happy place, good vibes, cool graphics. It would be like the cool place to work. And so how did you build a company culture and what does it look like scaling up to a team of over 100 employees that feel like family?
Honestly, whether it's 4 employees or whether it's 100 employees, people are very nuanced, which makes the journey with any amount of employees challenging because you have people kind of ebbing and flowing at all different paces and dealing with their own personal, their own professional growth path. So quite honestly and very transparently, it's the hardest part of what we've done as an organization is building the culture because we can have the graphic everywhere and we can have values, but if they're not embodied and that's not the walk that the people are doing every day and you don't have that alignment, it's fake. And so being very committed to building that heartbeat has required us having strong boundaries, because when it's not a good fit, you can have somebody who's an excellent performer, an awesome achiever, and they don't have the attitude. They don't embody the same values. As business owners, saying no to that is very challenging, but if culture is important to you, it's required. And it does pose challenge, because when you have somebody who's a super achiever, but they just don't have the right kind of attitude, or they're not a team player, or they don't have the true, honest care for their coworkers, it's not a good fit.
Got it.
And even this week we had to deal with it. So it just doesn't ever stop.
Got it. So that's the challenging part. How do you get used to firing people?
Well, you cannot.
Okay.
It's very hard, because I think when you are a heart-led leader,
Yes.
and you really do genuinely care about people, admitting that it's not a good fit is never easy.
Yes.
And we like to say, well, we're promoting you onto another opportunity outside of our organization.
That's a beautiful statement.
And it helps us make sense of not right for us, and they will find their home where they are happy and they fit in, and what will be for their highest best. And then we're creating space for what is our highest best, and knowing that, but it doesn't make it easy.
Yes.
Yes. It does not make it easy ever.
Wow. I found that more so, since our team is so small, more so with our patients, actually. Sometimes the doctor, it has to be a right fit, right? And there are some people that really just want a pill and to have lots of pills. And I'm like, man, I'm a wellness focused physician. I want to help you transition off of pills. So it has to be a good fit. Like, if you want a pill pushing doctor, let me share other physicians that may be a better fit for you.
Yeah.
And so it's true. So I've seen it more with the customer side than the team side at this stage, but it's good to know.
Yeah, well, and I think honestly, just as like women and human beings, deciding who you want to be a part of your tribe includes your workspace.
Mm-hmm.
We spend more time with our clients and our employees than we do the people who we get to pick to have in our lives.
Yeah.
So having strong boundaries around that, I think, is vitally important for sustainability and continued happiness. So when we're thinking about our culture at Steelhead, I want to create a place where I want to be every day.
Exactly.
I have to spend a lot of time there.
Exactly.
So I want to walk in like, hey everybody, and be super stoked and excited. And the ability to have that is dependent upon the people whose faces are in the building when I show up.
So true. Man, dropping the gems. So I read an interesting fact recently, and this is what it said. Less than 2% of women-owned U.S. businesses generate over $1 million in annual revenue. So you are a part of that less than 2%.
Yeah.
What do you think separates that less than 2% from everyone else?
This is going into like the personal side of things, but knowing that you're worthy and really deciding I'm capable of playing the game at a big level, and I'm here to do it. I'm here to prove it. I'm happy to talk about my revenue transparently, because if people look at me, I'm ethnic, tattooed, relatively young, and that I'm running a big business and the steward of something large. I hope that there's somebody on the receiving end thinking, I can do it too.
Yes.
And be inspired by that. And quite honestly, I have a lot of really amazing entrepreneurial women in my life, and I learn lessons from all of them, regardless of the size of their business. But I know I'm here to get it. Like, I want it. And we have big growth plans for our business this year and moving into 2025. And I just want to be in alignment with the knowing that it is available to me. And I am not taking no for an answer in this lifetime. I will not.
Yes.
And so I want all the women watching to really, really, like, not just say that, but like viscerally, cellularly understand that, because it is available to us.
It's that mindset.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, the mindset is so key. And I love that you share that. That separates us. That separates just knowing. There's some things I say out loud and people are like, how do you think? And I'm like, yes, that's what it's going to be.
Absolutely.
Like, yes, that's what's going to happen. And so, okay, all right. I can go in on that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
So what have been some successful marketing strategies?
Okay. So going back to the belief in the mindset, not being afraid to put yourself out there. And I think a lot of us get really, really intimidated by having the lights, having the camera, the mic, the stage. And we're afraid to share our message. We're afraid to share what it is that we're bringing and offering to the marketplace. And it keeps us small. So first of all, it's knowing that what you bring is adding value, like having full faith in that.
Yes.
And then being willing to talk about it on every single platform. Truly utilizing every single platform. For me, I think about all of the different ways that a prospect or client will interface with our brand. And it's funny because I'm like using my hands, because I literally have a little diagram. Like here's steelhead in the middle, and then here are all of the different ways, like a spoken wheel of the different marketing mediums that prospects would interface. And I create a strategy for every single one.
Nice.
How do we put ourselves out on that stage? And doing it with, bravery, And it's so funny, somebody asked me, oh, you must be so fearless. No.
Yeah.
I am afraid. And I do it anyway.
Yes.
And I think that's what bravery is. And it's one of those separating qualities. And in your marketing, being brave.
Yes.
Being brave, and not everything I've done has worked. Just recently, I launched like a summer school program. And I had big goals for engagement. Talked with our marketing agency. And they weren't what I wanted them to be. Right. But I needed to put it out there. You know what I mean? And learn, okay, that didn't result in what I was hoping for. How can I retool and go back with the lessons that I learned through, I won't even call it a failure. I'll say it was a lesson learned. How do I go back out and do it better next time?
So we don't stop, we retool.
Retool, girl.
The retooling season.
Yeah, always.
How do you thrive in this male-dominated industry? I'm in a predominantly male, predominantly non-melanated industry as well.
Non-melanated, I like it.
How do you thrive in that? I found my way to do that in this season. How's that look for you?
It's interesting, and I'll tell just a really brief story, but we were at an event, and somebody, one of my colleagues, walked up and said, can I talk to the owner of the business? Very nice to meet you.
Yes.
And like the look on his face, like he could not process what he was seeing. And going back to that worthiness, I put my shoulders back. How can I help you?
Yeah.
And just choosing to fully embody the position that I hold within my business, and not shrinking down and not being intimidated and not dropping my eyes or my shoulders, but really just allowing myself, like, I am here because I deserve to be. I've earned the stripes. And so really in every environment, I go back to that moment and I think, I'm not going to allow the landscape to dictate the success or failure of my future. I do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I remember when I told my pre-med counselor at UNLV at the time, I was switching from pre-pharmacy to pre-med major. And I remember I told him, no, I don't think I'm going to go to pharmacy school. I want to go to medical school. And he looked at me. He said, oh, med school's for the big dogs. And I said, well, then call me big dog.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I love that. that. Okay. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Okay, so you are an amazing nonprofit owner, too. What led you to the 501c3 brands and aspect branch of your business, and why was that important? Tell us more about it.
Oh, goodness. Okay. I'm very proud of the Give Happy Foundation, born in 2023, so it's very new. But going back to the roots that I spoke of earlier, like really where I came from as my first career, I recognize that there's a need for supporting those that don't have the same resources. And I think we can all agree that regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, the politicians aren't going to save us from every woe that we face as a world, as a population of people. And I believe personally that business owners, for-profit business owners, if they give a little bit more to the nonprofit world, really kind of bridging that gap between for-profit and nonprofit, and choosing as for-profit business owners to give just a smidge more. If all of the for-profit business owners did that, the landscape of this universe would be completely different.
Wow.
And I'm here for it. And really, that's the mission of the Give Happy Foundation. As entrepreneurs, it's like with our day-to-day operations of our business, considering where to give our
I know.
Philanthropic
yes.
dollar. It's a little bit challenging and
Yes.
overwhelming, and you
Yes.
think, oh my goodness, I just don't have time necessarily to think it through. But the Give Happy Foundation, it's the platform I've created to help make giving easy for those that are impassioned by the pillars of the foundation. And, you know, quite honestly, I kind of feel like it's my legacy play, because I started off as, you know, asking for donations and really working in that space to being the donor now, right?
Mhm.
And then the creator of the platform that can help make giving easy for, you know, my fellow peers now as the entrepreneurial world.
So it has come full circle. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
You read a lot. Books. You've given me so many book ideas. When you come into your business, you see all these amazing books. I wish I took a picture when I was there, because now I'm like, what are those books? I need one on my vacation. Now, you mentioned Scaling Up, but if there are any other books, podcasts, resources in particular that really just stand out, where you're like, if you're a busy woman entrepreneur, you need to check these out, what comes to mind?
There's one in particular, and I actually just gifted it to our entire business development and sales team last week, actually. About 10 years ago, I read a book. It's called The Compound Effect, and it's written by Darren Hardy. Have you read it?
No, I'm going to read it, though.
Okay, it's an easy read.
I'm asking these questions for me, so.
You can read it like in a weekend, probably.
Okay.
And it's all about the small micro movements that we commit to every single day, and how over a long period of time, those commitments can change the trajectory of our life.
Wow.
And it's written in a really simple but very linear way, easy to follow along with. I embodied those practices, and I promise you, the woman I am today is built because of the information I pulled and gleaned from that book.
Wow. Yeah. I'm adding it to my list.
Okay,
for sure.
Text me after you read it.
I will. Thank you for being my accountability partner in my book reading, because I'm good to start a chapter and be like, okay, I think I get it. Okay, so I ask all the ladies this. How are you balancing business and wellness in this season?
That's such a good question. I'm a wellness junkie. You know this, because when I'm like, hey, I need all like the cutting edge things. For me, it's about making the time. Really, honestly, movement is vitally important to me. I know that my cellular being is made up of the food that I eat, so I'm very connected to, I eat this, and it is making me cellularly who I am. And it's just the knowing, like, I am what I eat, you know, so I pay attention to that. I really try to move every single day. The last couple days, I haven't been able to go to the gym, but I'm like, let me go get nature's medicine, move my body, walk, get the vitamin D, and I feel like, okay, I made a deposit in that way. So it's really about making the time, making it a priority. My own personal belief is that I cannot be the highest and best version of myself if I do not care for my body. I want to be a great entrepreneur. Yeah, I want to be a great philanthropist. Yes, I want to be a great mother. But if I am not well in my body, how can I be the best at those things that I care about?
I don't pay her to say these things.
Don't I?
Dr. Jade told her to say that. Yes.
Yeah, so it's just, you know, it's really, really important to me. And I invite, you know, everybody just to really consider, like, taking care of ourselves. I mean, so many women that I know put themselves on the back burner for all of the other obligations. And many of them are waking up and realizing they're not very satisfied and they don't feel very good. And it takes a lot of work to undo some of the things.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. Of course, when women come to me and it's like, it's been years in the making, and I'm like, oh, well, it's all right. It's not too late.
No.
But I love that you share that. Thank you so much. So where can the She Inspires fam find you on socials?
So Rhinanon Andersen on Instagram, and at Exhibit Happy, my company Steelhead, and Steelhead Productions on Facebook. Yeah, I'm kind of like all over.
Yes, you are. And you are a woman that truly inspires. Thank you so much for sharing your gems here with us today. You are truly an amazing woman. Thank you. And if you've enjoyed this episode, y'all, Y'all gotta leave the podcast a review, okay? Leave the podcast a review. Let us know. DM me on Instagram. Join the fam at Dr. Jade MD. Let me know what was your favorite part of this episode. Join us on YouTube. Subscribe. We're at Dr. Jade MD. Share this podcast episode with a busy professional woman who is trying to balance business and wellness and would love to learn from an 8-figure entrepreneur who is just phenomenal. We look forward to caring for you and seeing you next time on the She Inspires podcast.